Welcome to the second part of the Best of Buffy video series. Make sure you have watched the first part, but it's not necessary to watch this video. However, I do recommend you know this episode before watching. With that being said, let's get started with the episode called The Body. This is one of the greatest TV episodes put on television, period. A very grounded and real take on death in the family. Like on the video on Passion, there will be some backstory. This time though, I will bring up background elements when the time calls for it. The only thing I will discuss is the end of the previous episode, which leads into this one. Buffy helps a man deal with his jealous robot girlfriend. As silly as it sounds, we are in season 5 and the episode has good writing to it. Remember, it's not about the idea, it's about the execution of those ideas. Anyway, when the robot is dealt with a somber ending, then we return to our comfort zone because the episode is almost over. Buffy returns home and sees the flowers that Joyce's new fling sent her.
Flower getting lady. You want me to pick Dawn up from school? What are you doing? Mom? Homie?
With that, the episode ends, and how the next episode begins. The Body. So let's begin the breakdown of this episode. The intro to the show begins, and it hasn't changed from the rest of the season 5. This may not seem important to mention, but I think it's a part of one of the themes of this episode. No matter what's going on in your personal life, the world around you move on without you. As far as they know, everything is normal. This is something focused on throughout the episode. Also, the intro lets us take a break before going back into Joyce lying dead on the couch. From now on, if you have a problem hearing this and stopping the video, I understand, but it will only get more real. So, fair warning. Instead of getting back to the stress of the situation, we see the Buffy gang having Christmas dinner at Buffy's house. It is a happy occasion with every person being their idolized self, as we learn a bit later that this could be a memory of Buffy's or some sort of flashback. It could be Buffy remembering this scene because it's when she saw everyone at their happiest, or the moment her mind denying what is happening right in front of her. Either case is supported by the scene itself. A good start for the writing of this episode. It ends when Buffy drops a pie that was burned. There may be some symbolism there, but I want to focus on the immediate end when it hits the floor. It's like Buffy was snapped out of her memory, as is the viewer. This puts the audience in Buffy's shoes as we see Joyce's body close up. Buffy screams and shakes Joyce, but no answer. She begins to panic, but still calls 911 and is on the phone with someone who advises CPR to begin the heart again. It's completely ineffective, and Joyce is still stiff and lifeless. I'm going to stop here for a moment to compliment the acting and direction here. Everyone in this episode gives it their A game here. Plus, the cinematography and lack of music adds to the experience. The only sounds you hear is a diegetic background. The direction is a masterclass of absorbing the audience as if you're experiencing a death of one of your own loved ones. Buffy, like I said, is in a panic because of her mental state. She forgot that she could do CPR and crack one of Joyce's ribs doing it.
CPR? No, I don't remember. Oh God.
Though she has cool-headed in crisis before, this is a different story. Seeing the person that gave you mental security dead will do that to you. Joyce has been there all of her life, and she's gone. There is no one to fall back on now for Buffy, and she will soon come to grips with that. For you see, she still hasn't given up hope yet. Where she is mentally now is denial, and it shows in her actions. Not listening to the operator and hanging up to call Jaws, looking and listening for the ambulance that is yet coming. When on the phone with Giles, all Buffy says is that she is at the house. Buffy doesn't think to clarify because of her, well, again, mental state. But Giles will come because it could be the current big bad of season 5 called Glory. Glory looks like an average woman, but she is very strong and seemingly unbeatable. Finally, the ambulance has arrived, so she opens her front door. When she re-enters the house, we get a zoom in on Joyce, a grim reminder to Buffy of what the situation is. This is also a reminder to us, and this won't be the last time. 2 paramedics enter and begin trying to revive Joyce, then ask Buffy about Joyce's medical history. This leads to Buffy mentioning what happened in the previous episodes in season 5. Joyce had dark spots on her brain scans early in the season. Buffy has taken this news very badly. In the episode Fool for Love, and at the ending of said episode, Buffy is crying on the back porch because Joyce might have something and must stay overnight at the hospital. We get to see how Buffy saw her mother. Joyce was divorced later when Buffy was around 16 or so now a single mom household. Because of this, Joyce has become an emotional rock for Buffy. Boyfriends and monsters may come and go, but her mom was always there for her. For the audience, Joyce has been there since the very beginning. We feel Buffy's pain in this endeavor throughout the experience. Back to the episode itself, Buffy is still stunned by everything happening. It's so sudden for her. Well, she is denying reality by saying she is fine when she mentions Joyce's surgery. She passed with a clean bill of health, so she must be fine. We have a relatable moment here. After putting Joyce on the ground to have more room, they seem to have revived her from a brink of death. We get a compilation of Joyce getting better. The paramedics say it's a miracle, and the doctor says later, good as new. This is something everyone wants to hear when seeing a tragedy like this. Unfortunately, we soon see that this is just wishful thinking on Buffy's part. It hard cuts back to her looking at the paramedics, failing to bring her back to life. She must snap back to reality and address what is happening. A great execution of what people might think in this situation. Also, as powerful as Buffy is herself, she can't do anything but watch, feeling powerless. She has regressed to a childlike state, unable to cope with the situation mentally through this experience. Buffy is still not fully taking it all in yet. The equipment reads that it flatlines, and the paramedics call it, Joyce is officially dead. We might have known, but Buffy needs to hear it. And the paramedics know that. After all, people need closure, and need to be told the truth, but with some grace. One of them tells her that she was dead long before Buffy came, and even if she was, it would be nothing she could have done. With how Buffy is now, this information goes over her head. The grace part is that he believes Joyce felt very little pain during her death. There's an interesting camera choice here, where suddenly we don't see all of the paramedic's face as he tells Buffy all this. Why? I think it wants to reinforce that Buffy still doesn't understand what is going on. A sort of surreal experience for her, so this is reflected in the cinematography. At the end of this, he tells Buffy that the coroners will come by to pick up the body. Also to make sure how she died. The paramedics leave as they get another call. This is Sunnydale, home of the Hellmouth, so this makes sense. But before they leave, one of them says, "Sorry for your loss." And Buffy replies, "Thank you." Both doing automatic responses, one for doing his job and Buffy just doing it, being in her own world. Her body language is on point here. All the time she is hugging the phone. Almost it's like a security blanket. Many people in stressful situations will hang on to something as a response. Buffy puts the phone down finally, and her stress needs to be released in some way. She can't deny the situation any longer. She pukes on the floor, and we hear wind chimes coming from the open window. Even though this sickening noise is confined with the chimes, I can't help but focus on Buffy puking. Maybe it's because we focus on the negative. Who really knows? After that, Buffy goes to the back door and opens it. Maybe to get some fresh air. Again, we hear the outside, but this time we hear kids playing and birds singing. We don't see them, but instead we just see Buffy's face. It's a clammy and shocked face. It does put us in the shoes of Buffy. Life goes on with other people as she looks out. She grabs a paper towel to clean up her mess. Continuing her days, she stares into the paper towel on the floor. Thoughts of why probably going through her mind. Her mom being dead, of course. Suddenly, we hear Giles, and he is now in Buffy's home. He asks Buffy if Glory has visited her. She still has her dead look and just says, "The coroners will be coming by." Giles is confused. He still doesn't understand. Buffy continues to be dismissive toward him. She says, "I must tell Dawn, and I will go there." Before we go any further, I need to explain who Dawn is. Dawn is Buffy's sister, so it is important that Dawn is brought up. However, Dawn didn't exist until episode 2 of season 5. She was made as a key to another dimension made flesh, out of Buffy's flesh, so she is her sister. Dawn has memories of growing up with Buffy, her friends, and her mom. Dawn does care what happens to her family just like Buffy does. She was made human after all. Back to the scene at hand. We see Giles look around and he notices something wrong in the living room. He runs in, but Buffy tries to tell Giles that it's too late. She rushes after Giles in this fashion, trying to stop him. Her words are rushed in her daze, and seeing Giles trying to help Joyce, Buffy screams, "We're not supposed to move the body!" After that, she looks shocked at what she just said. Seeing the body made her realize now that her mother is dead. Buffy can now mourn fully. Giles knows what's going on, and he hugs her. They both comfort each other, but Giles knows that he needs to support Buffy. He needs to be the adult that Buffy thinks him to be, the father figure. After that, we get the first shot of Joyce's dead face close up. All these scenes show the process of what happens to her body. This is, of course, what happens to all of the bodies. The process itself being displayed means that this could be the audience's mother. One day there will be no escape from this for you or your loved ones.
In the Buffyverse, there is no episode more devastating, more haunting, or more profoundly human than Season 5, Episode 16, The Body. Stripping away the supernatural, it confronts death with raw, unflinching realism, placing the audience in the same numbing shock as Buffy and her friends. Every choice, from the stark silence to the long, unbroken takes, forces us to feel the weight of grief in real time. It's not just an episode, it's an experience, one that lingers long after the credits roll.
After showing the body being zipped up, we transfer to Dawn at school, crying in a bathroom. We assume it's because of news of her mother being dead, but we soon learn otherwise. Some guy called her a freak, embarrassing Dawn. Her friend tells her being called freak could be a good thing. As a viewer, you might be wondering, why being shown this now? And it feels like a normal day at school. Well, that's the point. Showing a normal day until sudden news changes it. This will be reinforced later between a talk by Buffy and a new character called Tara. Dawn walks down the hall and goes to her next class, which looks like an art class. What most of the students are talking about is not important, but the subject of the class is. They need to draw the body of a naked woman's, body. Clear symbolism of the title of the episode. Not only that, but the teacher said you need to concentrate on the negative space it creates. Negative space being the empty space around the subject being drawn. Could mean that the body is empty, it has no life, or looking at the body makes you want to look at something other than the body itself. Dawn is talking to another student while drawing, and things are fine now, until Buffy enters.
She's so superficial. Everything's always about clothes or who likes who and say the word annals, so she kept saying,
Dawn.
We know what's coming, and we don't want Dawn to feel sad about what happened to her mother. However, she must be told. Buffy wants to talk to her outside the classroom, and the art room is surrounded by glass, so everyone can still see what's happening even from inside the classroom. Just like the classroom, we too are the audience looking through the glass. Buffy is trying not to embarrass Dawn, but she knows something is up. After all, why would she be here? Buffy wants to go outside, but Dawn strictly wants to know now why Buffy is there. Dawn is used to being left in the dark by her sister, and she doesn't like that. This makes Dawn defensive in her body language and voice. Buffy wants to tell her in private, but Dawn refuses and wants to know why Mom isn't picking her up instead. Buffy does relent, and begins in steps to tell Dawn what happened. Buffy tells Dawn that Mom had an accident, as is to ease the tougher news coming up. then bring up the tumor and how something went wrong from it. Now it seems it's Dawn's turn to be in denial as she starts to ask questions like, is she okay?
Is she okay? Is she? But she's okay. But it's serious. But
Dawn is starting to break down. You can hear it in her voice and see it in her face. Buffy sort of interrupts Dawn calmly and just tells her the truth. Through this, we get to see another view of how someone else deals with this sort of news. As she begins to tell Dawn that Joyce is dead, we don't hear the conversation in full. Instead, we see it from the classroom, and we are put in the shoes of the students. We get to see their reactions to everyone around them. You can tell when Buffy tells Dawn the news, as she falls to the floor. She starts yelling that Buffy must be lying and crashing out on the ground. All those superficial things that she thought were so important earlier don't matter. When people go through this sort of pain, people around you will understand, no matter how embarrassing it may look. As the art class looks at her pain, we see Dawn's canvas of the body she was drawing, as it's filled with negative space.
space.
Yeah. What's that all about?
The negative space scene with Dawn in her art class serves as a quiet but profound metaphor for grief and absence. The teacher explains that instead of drawing the object itself, they are to focus on the space around it, the void that defines its shape. This concept mirrors the emotional core of the episode, as Buffy and her friends are forced to confront Joyce's death, not by what is present, but by what is suddenly missing.
We continue with each scene transition. They show the next stage of Joyce's body being prepared for burial. The coroners are just doing their jobs. It's just another day for them. Again, there is no music. An eerie silence as the audience looks at Joyce's dead face. The same look and position we saw before. The scene cuts to one of the newest characters on the show, Tara. She is with Willow looking at a shirt. I'll explain Tara in a bit. Then we see Anya in the car, though it feels like something from another show. She is another new character that we'll explain later. The camera work and the absence of any sounds make it one of the most artistically grounded I've ever seen in Buffy, or even Angel. Just a great scene to absorb the real-life implications of death. Xander and Willow have been friends with Buffy for years. As viewers, it's important for us to see how they handle the news for many reasons. One important reason is when it comes to character-based drama, we need to see the reactions of our main cast. A death will bring them together in tragedy, and seeing how they react to it can be interesting depending on how it's written. Another reason it's important is because Buffy's first friends are aspects of her psyche. Not they're just extensions of Buffy, but I think this is a holdover from the episode Primeval. You see, her friends become a part of the Slayer, or Buffy herself, making her superpowered. This was to defeat Adam, 4th season's big bad. Willow was the spirit, Xander was the heart, and Giles was the mind. This will be important going forward. Tara spots Xander's car from the upper floor window as he drives up. Tara is a more recent character in the show, but to explain Tara, we must explore Willow's development up to this point. You see, Willow was dating a werewolf named Oz. They were the show's best couple, I think, but they separated because of his werewolf nature overpowering his human side. This caused him to cheat on Willow, and Tara filled the void by being there for Willow and being a fellow witch.
You're different than them. I think if they saw a witch, they would run the other way. See. We could name her Trixie or Miss Kitty Fantastico or something. Good, because I want my room to be Willow-friendly. Me too.
This is a brief history of their relationship. But Tara and Willow are living together in college now. This is good for the episode. We got a new or outsider type of perspective from her. She is helping Willow cope with the loss in her own way. Willow is trying on different tops and stressing about it. The reason being she wants to be supportive for Buffy, but is hyper-focused on being perceived as insensitive. The more Willow talks about it, the more she breaks down.
Oh, I want to be cheery, like everything is normal. No, that's rude. It's disrespectful. La la la. I don't care.
The stress of Joyce's death has hit its breaking point. Willow is Buffy's best friend and knows Joyce very well. In fact, we don't see Willow's mother that much. A lampshade reason in show is Willow's mother is not interested in her life. Not that she doesn't love her, but she is very hands-off. Joyce, though, seemed to be more interested because she was around Buffy a lot. Another aspect of Willow breaking down is a bit of a meta one, I think. Because of, I mentioned earlier, the primeval and restless of Season 4. The main reason I believe this is relevant in the episode because all these aspects of Buffy have been broken. Willow's spirit has been broken at this point, and therefore so is Buffy's. As an audience, we may not notice, but it is happening. The writing and direction both have it be about the character suffering and Buffy at the same time. Xander will be mentioned later about what he means to the Slayer and character. Willow is normally happy-go-lucky and able to make smart decisions, but because of her, spirit is broken, she can't even find a shirt to wear. Tara has to be the emotional support when this is the opposite in the past.
You sure it's not in your room?
I can look again.
Darling, can't do this.
When Tara is comforting Willow, we learn more reasons why she is going through so many shirts. The tops of hers are too childish or bright. Another reason is that Joyce liked a certain blue shirt. She wants to find that one. The scene changes back to Xander and Anya still in the car. Anya is another new character, but she's been there longer than Tara has. She is Xander's girlfriend, and an ex-demon, but more on that later. Xander needs to go meet with Willow in their dorm. He wants to find comfort in his childhood friend. But he tells Anya she doesn't have to come up with him. Xander thinks that Anya could feel too awkward about the situation, so he gives her an out. Also, she doesn't know Willow as well as Xander does. She doesn't answer, and there is a silent moment, then tells him that he's double parked. Xander, because of recent events, ceases to care, saying, "Let them give me a ticket." This is something Xander would do. It's in his character. His rashness can be a positive trait in the right situation. They both got out of the car, going up to see their grieving friends. When going up, Anya seems lost in thought. They both seem to be coping right now. She wants to support Xander in this tough time, but asks what are they going to do. She comes off very naive, or maybe even childish. This is different from what Buffy was doing. Buffy is being childish from shock, while Anya seems to be just asking questions. But why? This will be mentioned later when explaining her character. The problem is this is new for Xander too. He has no answer for Anya, but he knows he must be there for his friends. Watching Buffy for a long time, this is Xander's default position. This is him going through demotions. However, Anya continues to ask questions, but the pattern seems to be the same. What she needs to do. It seems she wants to be useful in some way. She loves Xander, so maybe she wants to be a good reflection on him. But Xander stays silent, which speaks to his state of mind. It's not out of cruelty, it's just sadness and grief. Finally, Xander and Anya meet up with Willow and Tara. First thing, Xander hugs Willow and asks Willow how she's doing. Willow shrugs with sad indifference, and Xander responds, "Same." They don't know how to handle what's going on, or how to handle the next moment. She says also that she might cry again, making Anya chime in on how Xander cried at their home, and that it was weird. Willow explains to Anya that it's something we do. Then just silence, letting the characters and audience absorb the atmosphere. It makes sense in universe also because everybody has no idea what to say. Emotions are high even through they may seem so low. Anya breaks the silence with the question, what do we do now? Willow responds that they will go to the hospital later, specifically the morgue. Xander confirms this because he heard it from Giles. This does get him emotional when hearing about Joyce's death again. Xander is looking for a cause of her death. He wants to take action. For someone to blame. Xander begins to blame Glory, thinking she covered her tracks. This doesn't make sense as Willow explains. Even Tara confirms this by saying Giles is pretty sure it wasn't Glory. Willow says Glory would want them to know. Glory, as I said, is the big bad of Season 5, and is not a subtle villain, and full of herself. She has a in-your-face attitude, so she would push it in Buffy's face if she killed Joyce. But Xander needs to vent, so he switches to blaming the hospital, saying they just put a patch on her and say, next! This ranting and looking someone to blame is Cope, of course. But he also is the heart of the Slayer. Both of their hearts are broken right now. As Xander goes through this, we get a close shot of Tara. It looks like she remembers something. This will be important when she is alone with Buffy later. Xander's breakdown is over, but he feels useless to act against something so he can feel better. In a humorous way, Willow says she wants to fight him. She knows how Xander is feeling, so this fake challenge is to get Xander back to a place of normalcy. A cute way to break the tension in the show, and with them. Anya speaks up all of a sudden and asks if they're going to see the body. She still doesn't seem to know how to act. This becomes an issue for Willow. This has been a thing with Willow for a while, so it starts to come out to a head here. Willow clarifies that the body won't be in the same place they are going to. Tara changes the subject to break the tension for Willow. She suggests that we find ways to help Buffy if she needs time off. They all agree to this. Willow asks Tara if the blue shirt could be somewhere else, so Tara leaves to find it. Tara may be an outsider, but she knows how to be supportive in this area. It's like she has been through something like this before. Anya again speaks up suddenly, and we know by now she has no filter.
Are they gonna cut the body open?
Oh my god. Shut your mouth. Please.
She will say anything no matter how insensitive it may come across. So when she asks, are they going to cut the body open, it comes by that way. Anya really seems like she wants to know, but on this occasion the attention matters little. Willow is fed up with these kinds of questions and rebuttals with her own questions. Xander tries to intervene, but Willow is having none of this. She wants Anya to have some empathy and sensitivity about the issue. Willow yells at Anya about this, and Anya has an emotional outburst. This is another reason this episode is known. Anya's emotional speech about death and mortality.
What am I doing?
How can you act like that?
Am I supposed to be changing my clothes a lot? Well, nobody will tell me.
Because it's not okay for you to be asking these things.
Anya asks how she was supposed to act and what she was doing wrong. Willow just wants Anya to act like a mature adult and just know what not to say. Anya is around the same age as everyone else, but mentally she seems to be different. She wants to know how to deal with it, so Anya is asking the others how to behave. The sad speech Anya gives is heartbreaking, and we finally know why she is asking so many questions.
I don't understand how this all happens. How we go through this. I mean, I knew her, and then there's just a body. And I don't understand why she just can't get back in it and not be dead.
She is frustrated because it's another layer of the unknown about being human, with everyone around her not talking to her about this, which makes conflict. Her stress levels are high, and she just lets it all out how she feels about being human.
It's stupid. It's mortal and stupid. And Xander's crying and not talking and...
So now I think it's time to talk about who Anya is. You see, Anya used to be a vengeance demon and she was one for thousands of years. Recently, just becoming human after a wish she granted went wrong. A while later, she got into a relationship with Xander and he is her guide to human life. She has thousands of years of dark knowledge, but the sensation of being human have been long forgotten. This is why she asks Xander so many questions and is so blunt all the time. She says what's on her mind, and she has no idea if it could hurt others. Xander is there to make sure she is not misunderstood. Now though, Xander is being silent, dealing with Joyce's death in his own way. So now she can't control herself because she wants to understand why she is feeling sad and can't conceive the concept of mortality. Once being a demon, she had a much longer life. In fact, she probably would have lived forever. That's not the case anymore.
I was having fruit punch, and I thought, well, Joyce will never have any more fruit punch. And she'll never have eggs, or yawn, or brush her hair, not ever.
The reason she mentions these things Joyce can't do anymore is because Anya has been doing these things recently. Drinking the fruit punch, brushing her hair, or having eggs. In fact, these were things she was probably doing right before hearing the news of Joyce's death. No one will explain it to her, because they can't. It's new for them too.
And no one will explain to me why.
This scene is really something I think everyone should see. It's one of the most brilliant speeches ever on TV. Well written, directed, and acted by Emma. After all that, she just moves to the corner, and now Willow understands why Anya is the way she is. This lets the group heal and come closer as friends. Willow explains that every death is different, so there's no set way to deal with it. Suddenly there is a crash sound, and we find Xander has punched a hole in the wall. His hand is stuck because of the built-in frustration. It was let out in this way. Anya is the most concerned, which makes sense because they're in a relationship, but that's not the only reason. The other reason is that Anya just had an emotional outburst about death. She even comments on how Xander could have died punching the wall. Willow and Anya help get his hand out of the wall, and we see blood on his hand. When Xander gets it out, Willow asks if that made him feel better. Xander answers, for a second, yeah. By this time, Tara has returned, but didn't find the blue shirt. Another humorous moment happens when she returned. With all the sadness, we need some uplifting ones within their character. There are no high points without low ones, but it still needs to make sense in character and plot. Willow by this time realizes that the shirt is not what's really important, it's being there for Buffy. Xander agrees, and her spirit and heart need to be aligned to get through this crisis. She can't recover without her friends. As they leave, we see outside the window, as Xander said is happening, he is getting a ticket. Life goes on around them once again.
As a vengeance demon, Anya spent centuries granting the wishes of others, often wishes born from pain, anger, or grief. She herself never made wishes, likely because she knew the consequences of voicing desires in a world where supernatural forces might take them literally. But now, stripped of her demon powers and forced to live as a human, she finally does what she never did before. She wishes for something. It's an innocent, futile plea. Her words hold no magic, no power, only confusion and grief. This moment underscores how profoundly human Anya has become. The very person who once wielded the ability to reshape reality to satisfy the anguish of others is now powerless in the face of real, mundane, inevitable death. It also shows that, despite her struggle to understand human customs and emotions, grief has made her just like everyone else, helpless, confused, and desperately wishing that things could be different.
The next scene is the body fully stripped, and has been worked on by the coroner. The body is now pale with the same stare from earlier. He is done and covers the body with a white sheet. We see him walk with the camera in front of him. When the camera moves away, we see that he's walking toward Buffy. The body is close to where Buffy is, but Joyce is in a dark blue place, representing how the opposite is from where they are, where the Doctor is now. It's the atmosphere and the color. Buffy's in the lobby where the area is brighter and a place for the public. The contrast is life and death. When the Doctor arrives in the visiting area, he won't approach Buffy. Because she is with friends or family he doesn't know, so he remains in the background, being a professional. To interrupt might be rude in an emotional affair, so he waits. Buffy is hugging and greeting everyone as well with Dawn. One unexpected hug is Anya hugging Giles. When this happens, Giles spots the Doctor, grabbing the attention of Buffy. Giles, Buffy, and Dawn walk toward him. With a heavy heart, the Doctor explains how Joyce died. Dawn asks right away if she can see the body, but Buffy stops it. It's not the time for it now. Dawn sees this as Buffy talking down to her, so Dawn just keeps to herself for now. She doesn't want to be seen as a child. Buffy needs to hear what the Doctor is saying, and Dawn is getting in the way of that. It's important for Giles to hear the details too. She knows that Giles can help her deal with all of this. The Doctor says that the on-scene report was correct. It was an aneurysm where the tumor was removed. But Buffy says that it should have been something they should have known about. But the Doctor responds, these things can be detectable, sometimes not. This is something that happens in real life. No matter how advanced we are, doctors are human too and can miss some things. Medical technology can only see so much, plus Joyce was made aware of this. She knew the risk involved, but if left unchecked, the death could have been sooner. Joyce had little options available. Since the aneurysm was fast-acting, Joyce couldn't even make it to the phone. Buffy is told again that even if she was there, she wouldn't be able to help. This does give Buffy a sense of closure, and the Doctor knows that. It may be harmful no matter how much you soften the blow, but it is necessary for Buffy to move on. The Doctor continues and repeats another thing that the paramedic said. He says that Joyce may have felt some nausea, but very little pain or none at all. Suddenly, we see him from Buffy's perspective. As the Doctor says, I have to lie to you to help you feel better. From what we see from this Doctor, I'm sure that's not what he said. This is obviously what Buffy is thinking about what the Doctor's subtext is. After all that, the Doctor needs some forms filled out, but Giles takes them away and says he'll fill those out. He wants to lighten the burden that is on Buffy. One more thing she doesn't have to deal with. Buffy relays the way Joyce died to her friends. Dawn seems the most apprehensive, so Buffy says they shouldn't be here much longer. Buffy is projecting that she wants to leave the hospital morgue onto Dawn. Dawn tries to speak up, but stops herself. She thinks her thoughts will fall on deaf ears since she was shut down earlier. Instead, Dawn just asks to go to the bathroom. This is a cover for her motives. For what? She wants to see her mother's body. Since she knows Joyce is dead, she believes Buffy is not lying on that. What could be the reason for this, though? I think a part of this is Dawn's need for closure. She may need to see the body to believe that her mom is dead. Buffy is right about Joyce being that way, but she still needs to see it to believe it. Dawn is a free spirit or independent in her thoughts, even to a selfish degree sometimes. So for her, seeing is believing. The other part, as I think, is to spite of Buffy. Buffy tries to keep Dawn in the dark because she is trying to protect her. Dawn sees this as belittling her, which contrasts with her free, independent attitude. This makes her ego-driven to such a degree, even to harm others. So she takes fate into her own hands, pretending to use the bathroom. Buffy notices that Dawn is angry, and Willow asks how. Buffy responds that Dawn didn't believe that Joyce was dead. She may not still believe it. This refers to the scene at the school where Dawn accused Buffy of lying in her broken state. Buffy thinks Dawn blames her for her mom's death somehow, or at least blames Buffy for just telling her. Anya speaks up and says, I wish Joyce didn't die. This seems like just at the apartment when she speaks out of turn, but sounds sincere. This is reinforced by Anya's next comment, because she was nice. It may have come across clunky, but that's not what's important. It's the emotions behind it. Buffy notices Anya's earnest feelings and accepts them, saying, thank you. This is a big step for Anya as a character, to understand someone else's pain. In the next episode, she will confirm this feeling with Xander. Willow asks Buffy if she has eaten anything. Buffy currently isn't thinking about eating or drinking. She doesn't know what she wants, but Willow decides to go find something for Buffy and Dawn. Everyone leaves with Willow except for Tara, both on the sofa, with a front view showing them alone. This is notable because they're about to have an important conversation. Buffy says she is sorry for dragging Tara into this sort of circumstances. She probably feels responsible for Tara feeling uncomfortable being the recent in their friend group.
I'm sorry. You have to go through all of this.
You don't have to worry about me.
Tara responds with, "You don't need to worry about me." We don't know what this comment fully means yet. From first observation, it's just Tara being nice, not wanting to put more of a burden on her. This is what Buffy notices and says that everybody wants to be helpful, which is nice but can be overwhelming in its own way. Buffy is in such a state that she is not all there, unsure she can be helped at this moment.
Everybody wants to help. I don't even know if I'm here. I don't know what's going on.
This is the first time Buffy has mourned a loved one, so it's all new to her. Of course, she means her mom, but still, no one this close to her has died. In the episode Passion, she could mentally separate herself, but not when it's someone who has been there for her all her life.
Never done this. That's just an amazingly dumb thing to say. Obviously, I've never done this before.
Buffy knows how dumb it is to say that this is the first time, since she only had one mom. Tara, looking sad, says that she has been through this. Her mother died when she was 17. This is why Tara had a sudden face and close-up at the dorm scene earlier. She was reminded of how her mother passed.
My mother died when I was 17.
I'm sorry.
No, I didn't mean to.
Buffy says that she is sorry, but Tara doesn't want her to worry. Tara knows it's not her place to tell Buffy how to deal with her trauma. Like Tara will say, everyone else's affairs are different. She tells Buffy that she had thoughts and reactions she couldn't tell anyone. This is something Buffy needed to hear from someone who has been through something like this.
I know it's not my place, but I couldn't understand or even try to explain to anyone else.
Tara also felt guilty for having these sort of thoughts, feeling selfish. This might not be the case for Buffy, since everyone is different going through this kind of process. This leads to an awkward silence, then Tara has no idea what to say. Buffy nervously asks if Tara's mother passed suddenly.
Was it sudden? Your mother?
No. And yes.
Tara ponders on this and says no and yes, but it's always sudden. You see, Tara's mom had a condition which killed her slowly. This is what she means by no, but the death of a loved one will always be sudden. There are a few deaths people can predict, and that's what her yes means. If you have a good memory, earlier in the season, Tara's family visit her, in the episode, called Family. They do mention her mother being dead, but the focus was on who Tara's real family is. Home is where the heart is kind of message. Both have a very meaningful conversation, Buffy and Tara, but we switch back to Dawn. She did go to the bathroom, but seeing the door that leads to the morgue, she hatches her plan to see the body. She also sees that Buffy is talking to Tara. She is distracted. No one is around Dawn, so this is her chance to sneak in. Dawn goes with her plan and goes through a dark hallway. All we hear is her footsteps as she walks. It makes me feel cold and alone, which fits the setting. Also, the POV shots from her. She finally finds the right door, and it's filled with dead bodies covered in white sheets. She walks in quietly and locks the door. I think she wants her own private viewing of the body, so she doesn't want to be interrupted or caught. She slowly walks to the body on the far back of the morgue. This lets us see the whole room behind her. When she tries to reach for the sheet, it feels like a tense scene for me. Maybe it's because I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. The tension comes from her just trying to see the body. She knows Joyce is dead, but Dawn looks like she's having second thoughts. She's nervous. The tension comes from how Dawn will react. However, she has come this far, so I think she will do it. However, this will be put on hold, given that we see a body get up and pull off its white sheet in the background. It's a vampire, and it walks up to Dawn. In some viewers, they may even forget about the supernatural aspect of Buffy. This episode is so grounded, people are like, oh yeah, There's a vampire. Dawn hears it and turns around slowly, and then when the vampire strikes, we switch back to Buffy. That scene is the creepiest in the show, thanks to the lack of music in the episode. The group returns from their food run with assorted snacks and drinks. Unfortunately, Buffy isn't hungry. They understand, since in her current state, you lose your appetite. So Willow asks if Dawn would like something to eat, which gets them thinking about where she is. They know Dawn went to the restroom, but it's taking too long, so Buffy goes to find her. Buffy heads toward the bathroom, but stops when she sees the door leading to the morgue. Buffy knows Dawn is a bit of a troublemaker, and she mentioned she wanted to see the body. Best to check out where Dawn might be to reduce the amount of trouble she could be in. As Buffy is on her way to the morgue, she hears this sort of ruckus. An odd thing to hear, so she checks it out. She notices Dawn in danger and intervenes, pushing her way in. Dawn is about to be bitten, but Buffy finally gets to him and pulls him off. This fight is unlike most throughout the show's history. There's no fancy fight moves or any banter, it's just a brawl on the morgue floor, which fits the episode's atmosphere. During the fight, Dawn is pushed down and grabs the white sheet over her mom's body out of reflex. Dawn comes to her senses while down there, and she looks up and sees Joyce's hair. She will have to see the body whether she likes to or not. While having the vampire on the floor, Buffy grabs for a surgical saw. She pushes the saw down onto the neck, killing the vampire. Now, with that being done, they both see the face of Joyce uncovered. Buffy doesn't know what to think, but Dawn is closest, leans toward Joyce's face. Dawn looks stunned like Buffy now, not knowing what to think. She asks Buffy if the body is cold. Buffy answers it's not her. She's gone. I don't think Buffy means it's not Joyce, more like she is no longer there. This could be denial, but Buffy is going through a death, and the first step is to admit the truth. Also, Buffy needs to be the adult now. She is the provider since they were a single-parent household. Dawn still has more questions. This is the way she is coping, and what she says reflects that. She asks where did Mom go? I don't know if this is a afterlife question, but I think she wants her mom to be here with her, wanting Joyce to come back to her. Dawn reaches for her mom's face, and before she can touch it, the episode ends. It cuts to credits and the episode's ending theme plays as normal. It's just another episode. Another day in the life of Buffy Summers. But her world has changed. And you can't watch older episodes without being a little sad seeing Joyce again.
Joyce!
We're not supposed to move the body!
I'm not gonna lie. It was tough going through this episode. I've known people who found their family dead at their house. And each character's reaction mirrors someone in real life. Buffy being depressed and lost, she is the most personally affected. First to find the body and trying to take responsibility for the family. Dawn is normally rebellious, and when confronted with her mother's death, she goes into that mode to cope. Her breakdown at school felt something she would do, but on a deeper emotional level. She wants to see the body on her own terms, and being denied agency when she is feeling grief. Xander and Willow are Buffy's closest friends, so when Buffy hurts, they hurt. Joyce was a pillar to Buffy's life. Well, she wasn't there for this. Her friends did like Joyce, but they wanted to be there for Buffy. Xander is rash with his emotions and got most of his emotions out before we see him in the episode. He tries to stay stable for the others around him. That's one reason he didn't answer many questions, is to not to feel vulnerable himself. Willow is usually in control of her emotions and when being the intelligent one of the gang. When she gets emotional, she will normally catch herself or listen to reason from others. You can tell from Willow's background that she can't control her emotions this time. It took Tara just to get her back down to speaking terms. Sometimes people in a crisis will depend on themselves or rely on others. No matter what your normal state is or attitude, these kinds of events will show the real you. The theme, I believe, is no matter how many bad things are happening to you, their world turns. Up to the paramedics leaving to the end where the doctor is doing the autopsy. These are just people doing their jobs. It happens every day for them. just like when Buffy saves someone for some sort of evil of the week. Buffy or the gang has seen worse things happen, but it was happening to someone else. Their personal lives didn't change all that much, at least to a degree where they had an emotional safety net. They can get to a place of normalcy. Buffy can't do that anymore. No one to lean on besides her friends or Giles. In the next episode, we see the conclusion to this with the funeral. They deal with Joyce's death with acceptance. But in the end, this episode is shot, written, and directed with almost perfection. The body brings out the emotions of the audience because of it, putting you in the character's shoes in a real way. Thanks for watching the video, and the next one I'll do is Once More with Feeling, another great Buffy episode in a stream going over Restless. Make sure to stay tuned, so subscribe for more. I do love making these videos like this, and I want to share my opinions.